What's up, everybody? It is Izzy. I'm back again with another Q&A today. I don't want to interrupt your ability to enjoy this picture of Mello being super handsome too much, but let's get into the first question. Why do people spread the idea that PEDs make you feel superhuman? Well, there's a lot of different reasons, right? And I'm not a psychologist, and I'm sure there's literally hundreds of different individual reasons that people have. But some of the main ones that come to mind for me is, number one, some of this stuff is just marketing that got repeated over the years. It's not like this anymore, but back in the day, you had to go on these weird, sketchy steroid forums and talk to these guys with funny screen names, like Juice Dragon 42069, and you had to get Juice Dragon 42069 to co-sign you to get you on a private email list to get the best bathtub trend you've ever had in your life, right? And Juice Dragon 42069 was getting a cut, or he was making it himself, and so he's trying to sell you trend. So of course he's going to make it sound like trend is awesome. You can eat as much pizza as you want and never get fat. All your lifts will go up 7,000 pounds in 42 seconds. So he's a drug dealer and he's selling you. Second reason that comes to mind for me is that people get placeboed. They have expectations going into it, and those expectations just come true. So there's a study that I'm thinking about. They did with college students. They had a control group that was given nothing, then two other groups that were given sugar pills but told they were steroids. One group that was given the sugar pills was just said, hey, these are steroids. The second group, though, said, hey, these are steroids. And then they got a 30-minute lecture about how dangerous they were for your health and how serious this drug was. Well, guess what? The group that got sugar pills and was told it was steroids made steroid-like gains. They did better than the people who got nothing. But you know what also happened? The people that got a big lecture about the health effects made twice as many gains as the people that were just told, hey, this is a steroid. So they had these expectations. They were educated about how powerful this stuff was. And because they were expecting it to be so powerful, their sugar pill not only had steroid-like effects, but it had good steroid-like effects versus just the group that wasn't told anything. Last but not least, we have to remember that this stuff does actually work really well. So you do use performance-enhancing drugs, and you do build muscle mass at a superhuman rate. There are different individual responses to these compounds. Sometimes people have low androgens going into it, and so raising their androgens above normal to something really high feels really good for them. There's also things like a documented antidepressant / euphoric effect with something like nandrolone. Plenty of these compounds give people really bad anxiety or make it difficult for them to empathize with others. There's different individual responses to these compounds, and so it's not out of the question that for some people it does legitimately change their brain chemistry enough to make them feel a lot better. That all said, a lot of this breaks down when we start talking about competitive athletes and competitive powerlifters and bodybuilders who are pushing the boundaries of gaining size. They're not on 200 milligrams. They're on a lot more. Is it possible to be too ugly to work in fitness? Well, I work in fitness, so anything is possible. But on a serious note, being ugly is an impediment in every single professional setting. And there's documented psychological effects, stuff like the halo effect, where people are known to assume that good-looking people are smarter, more trustworthy, more capable, etc. So people who are more deserving of opportunities, promotions, being a coach, are going to get shafted sometimes in favor of somebody who's simply better looking than them. Is that an insurmountable disadvantage? Obviously not. There's plenty of ugly people that succeed in all walks of life. Is it going to make it harder, though? Yes, absolutely. Is that fair? No. Is that reality? Again, yes. So if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to make it happen, even if you have to work harder than everyone else because of your inherent disadvantages. What is the best ab machine? The abs really have two functions that we care about from a hypertrophy perspective. One is spinal flexion and the other is hip flexion. And so you can kind of cover both of those with hanging leg raises and any kind of setup or crunch motion. Some ab machines let you do both at the same time, meaning that you can kind of crunch down while you lift your legs up, and that way you only have to do one movement instead of two. So those are the ones that I like. If you're talking about which manufacturer makes the best ab machine, honestly, man, I don't get too concerned with that. Who cares? Yes, does Prime make the best incline bench machine in my opinion? Yes. But if you can incline dumbbell press the 200s, is that more important than having access to the best machine? Yes, it is. Same thing with abs, man. If you get really strong decline setups, you'll have good abs. In your competitive powerlifting days, what was your personal record for rest between sets? So when I was competing in powerlifting, there were times where I got very, very fat. Very fat. But I was still never one of these people that like ate a bag of chips and took a nap and watched an episode of my favorite anime in between squat sets. I don't think I ever rested more than like 5 to 7 minutes. It just seemed lazy to me. I am in no way intending to disrespect men's physique competitors. Not at all. Not at all. But take a look at this picture. Okay, on the left, that's Brandon Curry, former Mr. Olympia. On the right, that's Brandon Hendrickson, 3-time Mr. Olympia in men's physique. What are you noticing in terms of upper body mass size differences? Not much, right? Not much at all. So what men's physique basically is it's a class for people who have really tiny waists and who don't train their legs. That's it. That's the only difference between them and men's open. They have the exact same upper body size. So you're talking about what muscle group should I specialize for men's physique? You need to be wide, just like in open bodybuilding, lats, shoulders. But really what you need to do is pick parents that give you wide collarbones and a narrow waist and not train your legs. Because that's what men's physique is. It's men's open, without legs, and with tiny guts and tiny waists. How to stay patient during a long training cycle. I know I sound like such a dick when I answer these questions, but you're making this more complicated than it is. It's like, look, I'm holding the straw, right? How do I let go of the straw? How do I let go of it? You just do. You just let go of your fingers and you drop the straw. How do you stay patient? You just do. Or you know what you can do that always works? Don't stay patient. Ruin your training cycle. Go off plan and don't make any progress for like 2 or 3 years, because every time that you're on a plan, you don't stay patient and then you ruin your plan. And that way you'll have enough emotional pain connected to going off plan that you actually stick to your plan. It's the same way with diets. It's the same way with anything. Like, you mess it up, and some people have to learn the hard way. So force yourself to learn the hard way. Keep doing it wrong, keep failing, and then after enough failures, usually you don't want to fail anymore and you'll start doing it right. Is the order in which you lose body fat from body parts roughly constant throughout your lifting journey? For the most part, I would say so. Like, for me personally, my front is almost like stage lean before my back even looks like I'm like in the teens in body fat. Most of my body fat is in my back. However, the one time I will tell you that does sometimes change is the very first time someone gets contest lean and then starts to gain it back slowly and properly on a bodybuilding diet. Sometimes their body fat distribution changes permanently, but for the most part, you lose body fat in the reverse order that you gained it. The body parts that are the last to get lean will usually always be the last body parts to get lean throughout your whole journey. Can changing the rep range or lowering the rep criteria for adding weight help get through a plateau? Well, this depends what you mean, because if you're talking about for strength training, absolutely. But if you are strength training, I would recommend using periodization in the first place and not using some sort of continuous linear progression unless you are a novice. Which means as a strength trainee, you would have pre-planned periods where you're doing higher reps and lower reps and higher volumes and lower volumes so that you can maximize performance at a specific time. For hypertrophy purposes, changing the rep range does not significantly alter the stimulus of the set. So what the metrics that matter far more are, things like the number of hard sets that you're doing. So if you are having a plateau in terms of performance on a movement for hypertrophy training purposes, I would look at adjusting the number of hard sets, either up or down, depending on whether it's a recovery issue or you're just stagnating in performance. And if that doesn't work, I would just do a different movement and come back to that movement another time in the future. I tried Deca, and after 6 weeks, you're right, it didn't help my joints very much. Also, no serious notable difference in muscle mass gains between Masteron, Primo, and Deca. Right again. I mean, it's not like Deca doesn't make any difference to your joints. It's just that the collagen production enhancement is over a long time period. We're talking like months, and most people don't run Deca for months on end, like 6 months. They don't use it as HRT. They use it for cycles. And then on top of that, the acute relief that people get from Deca in their joints is because of intracellular water retention. And you can get that from basically any compound that aromatizes, even testosterone. The key is to just not bring your estrogen down too low with things like Primo or Masteron. And yeah, and as far as the muscle building side of these drugs go, this is why I don't even bother to get deep into the weeds with drugs, because here's what matters about drugs and bodybuilding. Take them and take enough, and they will work, period. So yeah, this is a funny thing that people do, but I didn't live anywhere near San Diego. I did live in Southern California in the Palm Springs area, but San Diego is a lot further south. However, if I was in San Diego and I was looking for a gym to train at, I would look at a place called The Gym. Literally, it's called The Gym San Diego. If you're looking for bodybuilding style equipment, it's probably not going to be beatable in San Diego. All right, everybody, thanks for asking questions. If you like the video, If you have any questions for me, just leave it in the comments below. I usually answer all of those. Subscribe if you haven't already. And, of course, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.